Do you know what saying I did not get until like 3 weeks ago was making ends meet? I didn't know what
making ends meet.
Yeah, I thought it was like bringing home like meat for food, but then I realized no, it's like making ends connect meat.
Wow.
Oh, it's the wrong kind of meat.
Yeah, I am like,
or a different kind of meat.
I know it's coming, but it's still.
You freak out every time, dude.
Dude, no, it's like, it's gonna hurt.
Don't look at the time.
I can't do it.
Oh. You can't cope with it, man. It's just a surprise.
It's too much pressure.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Human Disaster Podcast. Woo!
Woo.
Woo! It's late tonight. We're recording late tonight. This is fun.
Yeah.
It was super hard to get in here with two kids. Having to put two kids down now.
Dude, oh my god.
Compared to one.
This is the first one we've done since you had a new addition.
Correct.
Yeah, for sure. I have to say, congrats from the new kid.
Thank you, Josh. We have Josh in the studio today. Josh is a longtime friend of
Frenemy.
myself. Friend and frenemy, yeah. Because we all... Dude, I think maybe not you and me, but all of us at one point in high school hated each other.
Well, no, maybe not, but I've hated you plenty of times over here. Whether it's because of your talent or because you're an asshole.
I'll take all of the above. That's fine.
It's like there's times I was watching you play guitar and I was like, I should have practiced harder. But fuck him, man.
How dare he? How dare he?
How dare he put in work and effort into a passion?
No, Josh and I met junior year.
Yeah. Sophomore year.
Sophomore?
In
Pre-cal?
English. Is that...
No.
No?
No.
We all keep pushing.
No, you're right.
Colin.
Junior year.
Thank you for coming on.
Yeah, thank you for coming on. Yeah, no, I was going to say we couldn't go a day. We couldn't go a conversation without just insulting each other. And that just happened for years. And then now he's the only person from high school that I still talk to other than you and my wife.
Shit.
Pretty much.
And what's weird is it was like I had such a strong hate. And I brought this up on the show, and I don't think we would have understood that you were talking about. But it was like every time I saw you after, it's like I had to concede a little bit that you were kind of a good dude. And then I think it was it the 4th of July?
Yeah.
When we started, Julie and I started talking, and I was like, oh, God damn it, I was wrong again. Like, I was such a dickhole, man.
Oh, dude. That's funny.
Really bummed me out.
God bless. What have you been up to, Josh?
I'm finally done with the summer semester. I took my final today. Last final.
What was the class?
Fucking fluids.
What does that mean?
It was fluids.
I know, but what people? There are people listening that haven't finished
Like,
college,
so
aka myself. AKA myself. I'm talking about myself.
Okay, so you've got a pipe and you've got fluid going through it. There's different densities of the fluid. There's different viscosities. There's different velocities. There's different everything. And so you've got to analyze all of whether the fluid's standing still or whether the fluid's moving. You've got to analyze everything about it.
And this is for?
In mechanical engineering.
Okay.
No, and then there's also you have solids as well, right? For different.
Well, I took that last semester.
And was that like the same concept except with solids?
Yeah.
Okay.
So once again, it covers dynamic and static of all of solids.
Are there what? So I know that you're in like a super intense because I one of my closest friends went through the same program that you're going through. Did you have any like basket weaving courses that you've gone through? Like I have
Wait, what do you mean by like literally weaving a basket or
no, just easy
like blow
courses.
off?
Yeah, just like math for liberal arts majors.
Okay, so actually one of them I took this summer. I had to go back and do physics 2 because I hadn't taken it. So I had to go back and take it as a senior, and it's a freshman level course, and it's painfully easy.
But you see, the thing is like as somebody who, has to drive a car and goes over bridges or things like that. Like I expect my mechanical engineer to have like a Phys 2. But did you ever maybe in like community college did you take like was there any classes where you're like, I swear to God, you people, anything like that? Just because the only reason I bring it up is because like sometimes the plans that I've seen for like courses, you just have like that one outlier, that one random. Like I had a friend who was a lawyer who had to take like communications law.
I almost had to take environmental science.
Oh, I thought you were pointing to me for that. I was like, what the fuck? I almost had to take environmental science. Pointing to me, I'm like, what?
You worked at SeaWorld, faggot. I watched
Oh
Blackfish.
man. Oh, fucking 15 episodes. Mike finally said faggot.
Got him. Got him. Got him. But no, the only reason I ask is because like I the math for liberal arts majors thing is like because so your easiest course would like murder me like you said physics 2 and I got salty, so I was like trying to dig deeper like because it was like I would fail whatever the middle school equivalent of that is.
Okay, so I'm sorry. I concede that Physics 2 is a difficult course, but because I took it as a senior after I've already taken the courses that build on physics.
Gotcha.
It was extremely easy. And it was one of those classes where I found myself almost constantly, I had to correct the teacher multiple times a day.
So I think we went through the analogy one time of basically like right before your senior year of high school, you got to go back to kindergarten. Yeah. Oh, I get to take naps now.
Close. I'm close.
Dude, so I whenever I first got back to San Antonio, my brother was in Incarnate Word, and he's like, yeah, I love it, it's great, and I hadn't gone to college, and they're really good military school, so I was like, I think I'm gonna go to Incarnate Word to study history, you know, and then I went to Incarnate Word, and I also looked at the other.
You went like on the tour.
Like yeah, well I did Our Lady of the Lake, and I was a veteran, so it was like it was pretty cool. They were like, bring us your government money.
Yeah,
you know? We'll give you discounts.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, and I was so about it, but what turned me off of them and Our Lady of the Lake University is that you had to take like theology courses.
Mm-hmm.
And like me and God were having our little bouts then. So I was like, dude,
not gonna happen.
Dude,
yeah,
I'm not doing it.
Same thing. I took one online class to finish my associate's degree for the Air Force, and it was at a I forget what the school is, but it was in North Carolina. It was some religious school, Mount Olive. There you go, yeah, Mount Olive. And I had to pick a degree, so I just picked accounting, and like I was looking over the entire degree plan. They had like religion courses, and I was like, I'm gonna take that.
Yeah, I took 12 years of that.
Yeah,
Yeah. So I almost went to BYU.
Really?
Yeah. Came close, but yeah, exactly the same reason. The theology courses just turned me off, and I was just not in the mood.
Well, and I wonder if it's all based around the Church of Latter-day Saints, right?
Yeah, so you have to be a member to be able to go to BYU. Sorry.
Really?
Talk
So
more
like
into
like Jim McMahon, like that's he won the Super Bowl with the Bears, and he was a giant degenerate. I've always wondered if like the athletes, like especially like actually.
Well,
have I ever seen a black kid play for BYU? There has to have been.
they actually have a
fuck.
Well, I'm just thinking because they're a basketball team. You know what I mean? Like
That doesn't mean they have to be black.
well, no. What I'm saying is that like okay, so you're gonna tell me if you said
No,
hey,
Paige, you're right. Give him that look again.
no, don't turn me into the asshole here. I want you to look at the NBA and look at the NFL.
I understand what you're saying.
I'm just saying, on average, one race's 40 time is just a little bit better than the others. Don't play dumb with me, Jerry. So help me God.
Oh man, that's good, dude.
So back to BYU.
Thank you.
Actually got a pretty. So they have an honor code at the school, right? So if you have sex while you're in school out of marriage, you're kicked out. And their athletes will rat themselves out if they break the honor code. It's a real thing. So
do fleshlights count?
Dude, I don't even
masturbation is
They're modeled
considered-
after real people. I don't know.
Well, so masturbation is along those same lines. Like
Yeah.
that's still breaking the honor code.
Yeah.
So you're not allowed to spank the willy either.
You're not allowed to make Jesus or your penis cry.
If it feels good, stop.
Well,
Don't do it.
Even caffeine, I've heard, is
Well,
like
yeah.
a giant no.
I would kill myself, dude.
I know. You've got a
I had
problem.
2 monsters today.
And a cold brew.
And a fucking cold brew.
Oh my god.
So, but when you say rat themselves out, do you mean like you've got like their buddy is like telling on them, or
No.
they're telling on themselves?
So a couple years back, there was a basketball player who had a full ride.
Yeah, I remember.
I forget his name, but he had a full
Was he
ride
black?
and he ratted himself
he's
out.
white.
and he got kicked out of the school. So he lost the full ride. He and his girlfriend both got kicked out of school, and the BYU lost their star player.
Yeah, I remember, and he was white, for the record.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. There
yeah.
had to have been one if they wanted to win shit. Sorry, I keep going back to it. I'm just looking at the base, you know. I hope you play in the WAC, because the Big 12, you're gonna get stomped.
Yeah, right.
Against Sooners, they don't have any religion to worry about. You could pray at the altar of Satan for all I care. You better run the 40 and 4.3, motherfucker.
Put the ball in the hoop as many times as possible. I don't care how much wine you drink on Sunday. Put the ball in the fucking hoop.
Can you imagine if Coach K had to recruit from a pool of white kids?
Mike is killing himself right now, dude. Jesus Christ.
I'm sorry.
He made himself fat
I
man.
know.
Because I just imagine Coach K, like, them walking up to Coach K, like, the legendary basketball coach, Bobby Knight, any of it, and they'll be like, okay, so you can recruit anyone you want from the Mormon pool. You would just see them
quit his job.
They would just like walk into the office and you'd hear the typewriter keys going, and they'd be like, "Hey, what are you typing? An action plan?" He's like, "No, my resignation, asshole."
Hey, there's
It's
black
not worth it
Mormons
here.
Huh?
There's black Mormons. They're kind of like the
Really?
unicorns, but there are there.
That is the religion equivalent of the racist white dude saying he has a black friend.
He's verifying with his wife. Babe, right? There's black Mormons, babe.
It's like whenever I announce to the room that's like, Julia's Mexican, so I'm not. And I'm like, are you sure? She looks really, really white.
Yeah. Right.
Anyway,
so speaking of God and religion and forcing beliefs down innocent children's throats their entire life, we have an interesting bunch in this room.
yeah. Starting with
I was raised Catholic. I'm not now, as Mike said before, recovering Catholic. Josh,
Raised Mormon,
raised Mormon.
youngest of 7, typical Mormon family.
Jesus Christ.
Man, yeah, and I was raised Baptist, but I mean, I'm
Far from it now.
far from it now.
Same here.
So, it seems like is that really encouraged to have like a large family in the Mormon faith?
Yeah, I mean, it's literally in their belief system. Your purpose is to procreate and make more Mormons, like make more kids and
Jesus Christ.
spread the love.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
And
I do have to say it for such a because it was founded in the 1850s. So like as a new religion, it really does make a lot of sense that it's like we need to kick this up like a little notch here. Like, how many children did you want to say have, Janice? Oh, 2. Add 3.
Yeah. I had 3.
You gotta
At
get good
minimum.
at this.
Take 2, square it.
What is the smallest
Plus
Mormon
4.
family you think you've seen as far as like children? I mean, obviously there's couples you can't conceive, but
I mean, there's plenty of families that don't have any kids. There's plenty of families that only have 1 or 2, but those are
The
kind of the
idea.
outliers. There's many more that have 5, 6, or 7. It's a
Yeah.
very common thing.
Damn. And correct me, I think we talked about this before a while ago. There's different types of Mormons where there are some that have multiple wives,
So
or is that different? Am I thinking different here?
you're approaching
There's like
the
a
right lines.
subcategory
Yeah,
of
so they've
Mormonism
been
that has that.
disowned. So the Mormon Church has wants nothing to do with them. They still consider themselves Mormon, but the Mormon Church has done everything they can to distance themselves from them and say no, that's not okay.
Gotcha.
So that's the only difference there, really.
Gotcha.
But yeah, they do have the multiple wives and stuff. I mean, there's that show Big Love or whatever it's
Yeah,
called.
that's what I thought. I was like, it's not. I mean, polygamy is being with more than one person, but it's not.
So
a
the Mormon
religion.
Church, the Mormon is like the slang term. The Mormon Church is officially called the Church of Latter-day Saints, whereas the non-Mormons, the ones that the Mormon Church has separated themselves, they're called the FLDS, the Fundamental Latter-day Saints, something like that.
where they're still rocking like all of the Joseph Smith beliefs, right?
Yeah, so they still rock all the Joseph Smith beliefs, but then they also believe, hey, I want multiple wives.
I'm just curious. I mean, I know that it's probably like, for instance, I was raised Southern Baptist, right? 100%. And it's not like any of us would ever in a million years identify with the Westboro Baptist, right?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
So it's exactly like that.
Yeah. So I understand where you're coming from, and I know but it's got to be a little bit harder because when I say Baptist, people don't want me to go, oh, so you guys think that you know, all gay people go to hell or whatever? They, you know, I don't protest funerals, but dude,
I don't protest funerals.
But
For the record.
just a quick aside. Okay, just real quick. I'll make this quick. But Westboro showed up to one of the funerals that I was at for Honor Guard, right? And they had a picket line. And there was like 7 or 8 of them. But to counteract that, these bikers that would show up to our funerals all the time, like, you know, like, dude, they were on the opposite side. And one of them like started to come towards her, and this big biker just goes, stop right there, motherfucker. And it's like,
try again, start over.
Scary. I thought I was about to see a biker beat up a just anyway. But I guess what I'm asking is it's never like really brought up that there's a different sect that believes in polygamy, right? It's just kind of like this thing that's just so foreign, right?
It's brought up more often than you would think. Almost any time anyone hears Mormon and they're like, oh, multiple wives.
Oh yeah, that's what
Thanks
I'm saying.
HBO. That's
Yeah.
why, yeah.
What?
Because the show Big Love is on HBO, and it's about a dude with like 4 wives. And I mean, it's not a real show, but it's.
No, I mean, yeah, it's Bill Pullman.
Well, no, it's based on a real person.
Is it really?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh wow. I mean, like, I can't satisfy a woman. I don't need 5 of them crawling around, asking me questions, fucking wanting to know where I was. It's like, I can't keep my story straight with one. Like, you gotta tell me I gotta deal with 4 of them and they all talk? That's why you gotta...
Didn't he, like, buy, like, a cul-de-sac, and he had, like, 4 houses on it, and then each wife lived in a house?
I never watched the show.
Or is that one show with that other dude with the shitty haircut?
Yeah.
Kid, you ever heard of Great Clips, bro? $8.99. Fix that right up.
I'm sorry. You gotta do the separate houses, though, and then you gotta turn them on each other. You gotta start spending more time with one, and then go to the other.
Jesus Christ, dude. Fuck that, man.
Yeah.
So...
No, but I guess what I mean is but it's not talked about within the church. It's just not acknowledged.
Definitely not. They don't.
Just like Catholic priests touching boys, they don't really talk about it.
Well, look, you've got 2 consenting adults, and then you got a priest who's like looking around the building, like trying to.
Hey, come in here. Wear that cassock and drink this wine.
That actually reminds me of one of my favorite jokes about religion. So religion's like a penis. It's okay if you have one. It's great. Just don't go showing it off, and definitely don't go trying to cram it down my kid's throat.
Yeah. So I was gonna ask that a second ago. I was gonna say, like, I think we would all consider ourselves pretty much like indoctrinated, right? Which means that. So there's a difference between indoctrinated. What it used to mean, it comes from the Latin word like doctrina, which means to educate, which is what it used to do. People used to educate them on their religion that they were on, that they were, right? They would, hey, I'm going to educate my children so they can be a part of this and grow up. And now what it is basically normal education is the idea of opening someone's mind to learn more, and indoctrinating is the idea of closing someone's mind to where they don't think outside of whatever you're forcing upon them. And I think I don't want to speak for y'all, but I know I definitely feel like I was indoctrinated. And that's why I've struggled most of my 20s with trying to find some sort of truth or light or guidance to how, what I believe and what I feel is real, what I believe is real versus what I've been taught is real. And I was curious, given what we have here, I think, would y'all say the same or different? Or
So growing up, I mean, I was raised Mormon, but like I went to church and everything. I just never felt anything. I never had that faith. I mean,
just never clicked.
It just never clicked for me. So I don't feel like I never had that struggle where I was like, what's real? It just,
okay.
For me, it was just, I went through the motions. I went to church because if I didn't, then I would get hell when I got home.
But it's more so like it would personally affect your life rather than your afterlife or something like that, right?
Yes.
Gotcha. Mike, what about you?
I mean, for me, I really believe that I really didn't start going to church until like 8 or 9 after my parents split, and I really think my mother did it mostly to keep my grandmother happy. But it definitely affected me. Like I definitely was like, if I don't do this, like something bad's gonna happen. And even to this day, like there's times where like we'll have a conversation on the show. And
Yeah.
I get in my car and I'm by myself. I'm like smoking a cigarette, go down the road, and I'm like, yo, God.
Yeah.
Like just in case. You know?
Yeah. Like I still feel like that now. I'm like, nah, dude, I don't believe in that at all. But hey,
But like,
just in
did
case.
you say a Hail
like,
Mary like real quick? Just
yeah. Hey, it's raining pretty hard. Can I get a safe ride to work today? Like.
But yeah, right.
like little things here
you
and
just
there.
send one up real quick.
Like I promise I'll hold the door for the next old lady I see, but like right now, can you bless me? Like keep me safe for a second.
Well, it's like it would just really bum me out if this was all if like the nihilists were right.
Mm-hmm.
So, but the interesting thing about like where you and I are coming from, and I feel like you guys were probably more similar in the amount of time that you. Well, first of all, you've spent the most amount of time in church and with that religion, and it seems what's funny to me is it's
Hell
like
yeah, I did.
yeah,
Yeah.
you spent so much.
Dude, you
time
lived in
it.
Utah for a while. Like strictly for that,
Well,
you were talking about going on missions and shit like that, which is crazy to me now because you've
So
never even
You said
drank the Kool-Aid.
You've never had like a struggle in adulthood with like faith or at least of the Mormon ilk. I mean,
I don't think so. It's just never really been for me. It's never really clicked. So Jerry brought up, I lived in Utah for about a year and I was getting ready to go on a mission. And the reason I was going was because I was dating this girl at the time. And she said, I'll never marry a guy that's not an RM, a returned missionary.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, well, I guess I have to go on a mission.
God, that's some toxic fucking love
Yeah.
shit.
So-
Josh, you were putting the pussy on the pedestal. No. Just joking.
I mean, to be fair,
She's,
though.
she's like giving it up, and at the same time, you're like, you gotta go on that 2-year mission for God. Like,
Did you want
bending
this,
over, like,
this holy snatch?
on all fours, looking back, and I'm like, you better go to Honduras and tell those brown people about our gods.
Oh my God, Mike! You're flying off the racist handles today, you son of a bitch.
Have you ever been to El Salvador?
To be fair, though, I actually did.
justified.
I got called to Honduras, and I
that's
wanted
why
to
I-
go.
Hold on, Mike.
Have you ever been to El Salvador?
Being to a location doesn't warrant racism.
It's not
You
literally.
said brown people.
Dude, I said, what would his job be if he went to Honduras? If I'm not mistaken, it would be to build Mormon churches to tell brown people down there about the Mormon God. I'm sorry, man. Have you been there? Because there's not a lot of widows
I've
walking
been to
around.
Japan. I don't call them brown people or yellow people.
You've been to where?
Japan. What the fuck?
Jerry.
At least he corrected himself and
Mike,
said
But you
yellow
were
people.
sitting there and paid. It would
Oh yeah, no, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying in general. You were like, have you
But
been
I
to El
wasn't
Salvador?
saying that I said that. I'm saying his ex said that.
Oh, okay. So
Okay.
to rephrase, in the words of Mike, in the words of Housen's ex, Josh's
And I'm
ex.
paraphrasing.
I'm paraphrasing.
God, this is the most fun I've had in the first 30 minutes.
It's gotta. Yeah, I think it's gotta. What did you make? Sorry, total tangent. What did you just make? A regular rum and coke? Don't say it. I don't want to bleep anything.
Yeah.
Okay. I got the orange vanilla.
Anyway, back on track.
Sorry.
So,
Super good.
I don't want to do my job. Do my portion of the podcast.
So anyway.
I don't want to bleep anything.
Oh no, dude, dude, it's so easy to just piece it together. But if I gotta cut it, shit, it's so much work.
What would we cut though? Like me being racist?
No.
No, I'm not gonna
Saying
cut
the
that for
name.
sure.
Oh, dude, no. Wait, oh. Yeah, I guess. I realize why you put it down now.
Yeah, that it just.
So much smarter than me, Jerry, in so many ways.
I don't know who's more confused: the people listening or the people that may watch it. Like, just like.
Dude, we have
we're
like
talking about nothing
we have
right
like
now.
5 views on like our like even like all of our videos. Like at this point, we might as well just scrap the YouTube because I watched you lose your shit for 30 minutes like trying to sync it up.
Oh yeah, No, that was just one time. Anyways,
So back to the mission. So you felt like did you feel like pressured to go through with this thing because of where you were at the time?
Oh, for sure. I mean, like my whole life growing up, I had that pressure from my parents, but until there was a girl involved, I just never really had the fire under me to go. And
men will be men.
to be fair, though, Honduras was definitely a yes for me. Like Honduras was like a check mark in the I want to go box. Like I mean, it's
So
a
you were
foreign
like,
country.
hey, free trip.
Yeah, but
That's fair.
at the same time, I didn't want to get down there and be like, oh, I've got 2 years of this.
Yeah, dude. What if she Dear John you while you were down there, man? That'd have been fucking
Bro,
dude.
You remember dudes who are basic who are like, yeah, I got a fiance, and then they get a ring in the mail like after 3 weeks. I'm like, homie, that wasn't gonna make it. You've been gone like a month, dude. Like, I loved her so much.
No, that'd have been totally, dude.
Dude, and then going to Honduras because you said
For 2 years. Wait, can you quit a mission in the middle?
Yeah.
Yeah, but you
it's
gotta
just
find your own
really
way back.
hard.
Yeah, but I mean,
What do you mean?
Fuck it.
What are you shrugging? It's
I mean-
Honduras. You can't walk. I mean,
oh no,
people
I understand
are, but-
that. I'm just saying, in terms of like, you know, the reason that you're there and the people that are probably in charge, like, oh, are you sure you want to go?
They'll send you back. It's just kind of a pain. And I actually know someone. What's his name? I actually know someone who he struggled with. Like he cut himself in high school, and so he used that as his excuse to come back and like cut his mission short.
Did we go to high school with him?
Yeah.
I know who it is.
Okay, anyways.
After the show.
Okay, that's fine. I was gonna say it'd be funny if you walked in and like to the main like priest leader or whatever. You're like, hey, look, man, I don't believe in this shit, dude. I want to go back. I want to go back home. He's like, I'll send you back to hell where you came from, demon. Like, get out of here! Like fire comes out of his hand, like sends you out of a tent.
They're Mormons, not magicians.
Yeah, this isn't Yu-Gi-Oh, dude, you motherfucker.
I don't know why I
He's
just...
not Tom Cruise.
Dude. So...
Can
Wait,
Scientologists
can I
be
tell a quick
indoctrinated?
fucking
You've already told me.
Scientology story? Did I tell it on air?
I think you did.
No, I didn't tell it on air. If I did, maybe we have new listeners so they can hear it for the first time.
Dude, I'm curious.
Okay, did you guys ever watch that Leah Remini TV show on
Yeah.
Scientology? Okay, it's a really good watch, dude. Anyways, I was like super into it, watching it like crazy, and we were driving home one night, and who are those people? Jehovah's Witnesses? Those dudes on the bikes with the short sleeve button ups.
Those are Mormons.
Those are Mormons.
Okay,
The Jehovah's Witnesses are the families that go by door to door.
Anyways, there's two of them motherfuckers on the bike, and we were driving by, and I thought they were Scientologists, and so I drove by next to them, and I was like, "Hey, fuck Tom Cruise, man, fuck you!" And I drove off, and I was like, "Fucking Scientology, bitch!"
Like, and you know those two Mormons are like, I'm not even allowed to watch Top Gun.
I wish I could watch Mission Impossible.
They're on their LDS mission, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, that's so you would have been riding around on a bike in Honduras.
Well,
In
With the
short
tie on,
sleeves.
dude.
In
With the
short
fucking
sleeves. And it's like, can I wear shorts? And they're like, no. Put on the fucking
Absolutely
pants.
Put the
not.
pants on, for God.
Bro. You can't even have facial hair, can you?
nope. You gotta shave every
And
day.
that sucks, man. Josh has a fucking great beard,
You got a
dude.
good beard, man.
He's got good hair too. You seen his hair? Mm-hmm. I can say that because I'm losing mine.
Say, dude, I want
You
so
lose it,
bad.
He
I,
finds it.
I want so
Dude,
bad.
this guy,
I haven't
hair
had a
fucking
problem.
everywhere, man. It's
Dude, I want you to if like it recedes back this way, you have to hold on to like that little bit. I want you so bad to just hold on to like that 17 strands.
Even if it just turns into a little patch
Dude,
there.
and comb it over too, bro. You gotta do it. You gotta do it.
no, dude. Fuck that.
You good? Are you gonna go bald?
No.
You gonna
Probably one day.
No, I'm saying like shit. It's like just one day you're just gonna like.
Just
If
pick
it's
it.
that, yeah, absolutely, dude. I'd rather just rock it bald and put a hat on every day than I already wear a hat now, so it doesn't matter.
I can't wait. I can't wait for us all.
Yeah, I just hope I have like a good shaped like dome. You know what I mean? Like,
You don't have a lumpy dome.
yeah.
I have a giant mole on the side of my head.
I've got a giant mole on the back of my head.
Dude, yeah, it's like I'm just like God, just
No, bro,
give me
that's just
50
the fucking,
good
It's
years.
just a big dread from you never cutting your fucking hair.
It's like, honey, does this feel malignant?
Hey, my hair is soft. It is not dreaded.
What do you use? You use Pert? What do you use? Some fucking
Dude, Perp.
some Head and Shoulders?
Dude, I've seen a Perp Plus bottle in a dude's butt. That's what you see in the ER, man. I mean, there has to be like, in the ER. You've heard stories or like from the medical field about all the stuff that you find in people's butts, man.
For those that may not remember, Mike used to work in the medical field in the Air Force.
No, dude, I did it in the civilian world too. Shit. Dude, it's not just butt stuff in the military. There's people wandering. There's a dude with a Coke bottle in his butt right now somewhere.
And if you're the guy listening,
And dude, I'm not shaming you for the butt stuff. I'm just saying get something designed for your butt. Like, go to the store, think ahead, don't get all squirrely on your girl and be like, grab whatever, honey. So next thing you know, you got an ER. I mean, you got an ER doc, a PA, and an RN, and they're tugging on a mag light, trying to get it out of your butt.
Jesus Christ, dude. At what cost? At what cost, bro?
Dude, I'm sorry. We were talking about God.
Yeah.
I feel like that's the most appropriate transition I've ever had. Like, let's get back to God after all that butt stuff.
Speaking of butt stuff, Catholic priest.
Bro, it's almost too easy.
It really is.
So speaking about the missionaries,
Okay.
I actually have a lot of respect for them, which brings up another joke. So Daniel Sloss, my favorite comedian, bar none right now.
Scottish, right? From Glasgow? Yeah, he's very funny.
And he's got a joke that goes, so I have a lot of respect for religious people. I wish I could have that sort of faith, but I went to school, so there's that.
I went to school.
Who was it? I can't remember which comedian did the bit about that. He's like, if you think the world is only 2,000 or 3,000 years or whatever. He's like, I've found fossils. But at the same time, like I said, like, what's funny is I probably I assume the three of us spent the least amount of time in church.
Yeah.
And I mean, because it was just every Sunday. But from what you've told me, you have to go to like seminary, right?
Yeah, so the way Mormons do it is every Sunday it's 3 hours of church.
Oh my, I'm out.
3 hours? Cowboys kick off at noon, homie. Like
Every Sunday.
My pastor's like, all right, we got 20 minutes before kickoff.
Well, every year it changes too, so it's not the same time every year. It's like you rotate through the time blocks. So, like I was saying, 3 hours every Sunday. Then when you get to high school, before you even get to high school, as soon as you turn like 11,
11?
As soon as you turn 11, every Tuesday night or Wednesday night, depending, you have a youth night. So it's another 3 hours of youth night. And I mean, it was kind of cool though, because that's when we did Boy Scouts and stuff. And to be fair, Boy Scouts with the Mormon Church is the greatest shit ever. Eagle Scout. We actually do shit. Like,
No,
it's not.
I met two of your friends, and they were like the coolest dudes.
Hell yeah, we grew up going through Boy Scouts together. Like, in the Mormon Church, you actually go on adventures, and it's amazing. It's the funnest shit in the world.
One of them is the only person that I think Jerry's ever gotten to talk about RuneScape with. Like Jerry was just so happy. He's like, I'm not the only faggot on Earth.
Oh my god, dude! RuneScape is the
Twice
best,
in one
okay?
episode.
New records.
I love you, Matt. Brother.
Yeah. I can say that. I can forget brother.
I can say that I had a Grinder account.
Sure you did, bro.
I did. Did a lot of drugs. I don't even remember a lot of it.
That's
So,
fair.
the
yeah.
worst of it was when you get to high school. So once you start high school, every single morning at 5:30 in the morning, you've got to go to seminary. And it's
And for clarification, it's not like you have to wake up at 5:30. It's your ass is in that seat learning about God some more for.
Before school?
before
You did this
school.
before you and me would go to calculus?
Yes.
Oh, dude.
So I was lucky. I did cross country in high school. Greatest decision in the world. Morning practices means I got to leave half an hour before everyone else did. I also got really lucky, and the place where we had seminary was my friend's house right down the street. So I got to walk.
This isn't at the actual church.
No.
church.
It is now. So now it's at the church. But back in the day, like for me, it was just at someone's house, and so there would always be someone that would host it. And they stopped doing that because people like me would wake up 2 minutes before I had to be there. Well, maybe like 5 minutes because I wanted to get there early, so that I could get a seat on the couch, sit down and knock out, go right back to sleep.
Oh, really?
Wake up 30 minutes later, and leave 30 minutes for everyone else, and go to cross country practice.
Do you think that the entire congregation was aware of all of the fucks you didn't give? Or do you feel like... Do you,
A good portion. I mean, I was cool with enough people that, they kind of just let it slide. I mean, they...
Because at the end of the day, it's like, he showed up.
Yeah.
And I don't want to talk for 3 hours anyway.
Well, seminary's not 3 hours. It's only 1 hour in the morning.
Word. Oh, man.
But it's every day of the week. Monday through Friday.
And then you still got to go to 3-hour church on Sunday, man.
Yeah, I was gonna say all I did was I went to Catholic school for 2 years, eighth grade and freshman year.
You're confirmed, right?
Yeah, and it was mass every day, Monday through Friday. Technically, you're supposed to go even on Saturdays, but my mom and dad never took me out there on Saturdays, and then Sundays we all went as a family. So I was going 6 out of 7 days a week.
Wait, what's mass? Like time frame? Like how long is that, and what do you do?
Roughly an hour, and mass is like they read like scriptures from the Bible. The priest gives his sermon on like whatever gospel they read. Like he basically breaks down that lesson a little bit further. It's supposed to help you become like a better person, kind of thing. And then of course they have like the sacraments that happen, which is where
Okay, that sounds a lot like seminary.
blood, the communion and the wine. It's
okay, minus that.
Yeah.
So in seminary,
plus a lot more kneeling, standing, and sitting.
Oh yeah, dude. Sit, stand, kneel.
Yeah. It was a workout.
Well,
dude.
what's funny is that you're talking about your cousin's Catholic school, and I knew as I was like letting that thought go, I was like, dude, I know I'm fucking right.
Yeah,
Dude, it's so. I don't know if you know this, but at Catholic churches, they actually have like in front of your pew, underneath the person pews in front.
I've been to plenty of Catholic weddings. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
like
a little kneeler?
we got a kneel spot.
And
Wait.
sometimes they're cushioned.
Do people not know about that?
Well, it's just, dude.
I'd never seen one.
Really?
were you laying-
First
Dude, that's
Catholic
like.
wedding I went to, I was like, "What is this? Is this like a?"
See, to me,
footstool?
it's weird to go into a church and not have that there. That's fucking crazy to me.
So Paige and I. So I'm assuming you went through baptism classes, and because like in the Baptist beliefs, at least in my iteration of it,
By the way, Paige is my wife.
Yeah, Paige's Housen's wife.
and it's
You want me to hype you up?
I don't know.
She's a doctor.
Josh is like fighting so far outside of his weight class. So
Good for you, Josh. Proud of
so,
you.
but like in Baptist, like did you? I remember vividly having to go to classes for a substantial amount of time before they would baptize you. They don't baptize you when you're born. You gotta earn it.
Who doesn't? In Baptist religion.
Yeah, it's like
right.
being
See, as a Catholic, it's like as soon as you're born, get baptized.
yeah, and then once you're confirmed, then you can participate in communion. Correct?
Well, Mormons are the same way.
That's first communion. Confirmation is something that happens after first communion.
So it's
It's something a little bit even more so. It's basically like you, to put it in like layman's terms, it's like you basically say like, yo, I fully accept this religion as the one true thing. Like, this is it. I'm all in. I'm never gonna turn around. That
Yahtzee.
that's what confirmation is. You know what I mean? It's basically like that, but it's
So Mormons are similar to Baptists in that they're not baptized when they're born. They're not. They wait until they're 8 years old. They have to go through like this little class. They have to understand the weight of what's happening, and then they're baptized.
And it was the same experience for you, right?
so. What do you guys? Wait, were you
Well,
gonna
I just want to say I went to Catholic church twice in basic of all places. Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
But the thing that weirded me out is that y'all don't sing.
What are we talking about?
Like, I mean, y'all don't have hymns.
Nah, bro. There's hella hymns.
I don't remember.
Catholicism.
I don't remember them. I mean, I just remember kind of like,
Dude, that whole half that goddamn mass is singing.
Really?
Yeah, dude. I was in the choir.
It's like I just remember the sit, stand, kneel, like come get your wine, like,
Let me
and
put
then
it like this.
and then there was some weird chanting, and then the guy with the incense.
Yeah, that's called Gregorian chant. It's pretty cool.
I mean,
It's probably the coolest part about it.
Dude, can
But
you do the
in,
Nick-
in like a
can you-
non-religious sense?
can you do the Nick Kroll thing? Because that's what it sounded like to me. Dude, do the Nick Kroll thing. Come on, just once.
Hold on, what's the Nick Kroll thing?
Okay, so have you ever seen the Kroll show? Okay, so they have this thing called publicity.
Yeah, publicity is by two chicks named Elizabeth that run a publicity like firm.
Yeah, and they're both morons. And
Valley Girls.
Yeah, and one just give you an example. Like one of them in one of the episodes, she cuts her hair into bangs, and she wants the other one to acknowledge like how brave she is for getting bangs. Like, I'm just gonna not how brave I am for getting bangs.
That's how they talk.
That's what the Gregorian chant sounded like to me.
No, it's more than that, dude. It's definitely there's definitely some. You gotta hear it. Yeah, I mean, it depends on where you go.
Do you sing in Mormon church? You have hymns?
Of course. I mean,
Yeah.
they're not the same hymns that they sing in other church,
Yeah,
but
there's no Hark It's Herald.
yeah.
They have their own. So,
Sorry.
what do you guys?
Gets multiple wives.
So
Sorry.
here, I'll give you guys a moment to think about this while I kind of maybe try to slew my thoughts together on it. But what do you guys? Do you think there's any sort of like pros or cons to the idea of indoctrination? Because to me, as a father now and someone who struggled for the better part of 8 to 9 years figuring shit out on my own, and like, you know, what I really believe and, you know, like helps me cope and sleep at night and things like that, and there's a lot of struggle, and to me I feel like it's not my place to put that on my own children, and I would rather them grow up making their own decisions, believing what they you know, find is right in their own heart to work for. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to tell them this is what we are, this is what we do, and this is where we're going, and this is why we do it. I want them to do that on their own.
But you do it with everything else except for religion, right? How so?
What do you mean?
I mean, you teach them how not to be an asshole.
Yeah.
But that's your opinion of what an asshole is.
Right.
Right.
Yes. I'm just saying, as far as telling them when to go, what to do, you know what I mean? Anyway, no, I want to.
Right, but there's a difference between teaching a child how to be a decent person in the world versus, hey, this is why you do those things, right? Because here's the thing. And this is the biggest problem that I see with like organized religion and things like that, is that people only do what they're taught in their religion because of the personal benefits they gain for doing it, right? I will be a good person to you so I can get into heaven, or I can receive this, or whatever, right? And they're not doing it to do it. So to me, I'm going to teach my son to be a good person because that's what other people deserve. That's the right thing to do. I'm not doing it because hey, this is how you're going to get in heaven. No, you can make that decision on your own. You can figure out, you can study all religions you want and be whatever you want, and that's fine. And if that's your justification later on in life for being a good person, then cool. But for me, I'm not gonna put that on them. I'm gonna teach you how to be a good person to other people, but I'm not gonna do it because that's why you're doing it. Does that make sense?
No, I mean it makes sense. I'm really interested to hear your thoughts on that.
So, I don't know necessarily about indoctrination, but the Mormon Church actually has a really good sense of community. So, if someone's struggling, they're on hard times, they've got this thing called the Bishop Storehouse, and it's basically just like it's just a place where you can go and get groceries, but you don't have to pay for them. That's cool. Because Mormons obviously have tithing. Every church has some form of tithing, but Mormons believe that you're supposed to donate 10% of whatever you make, not just like what the change you have in your pocket. They don't pass around. 10%. But it's always really quiet. Like it's not like a basket that gets passes around during service. It's a very private thing. You're not supposed to.
Oh, really?
Everything about the Mormon Church is super private. Like,
you know, you said they send a basket around in Catholicism. Like a Catholic mass, every time they send a basket around.
Yeah,
it's the same for Baptists too.
Yeah, with Mormons, that's not the case. Every aspect of worship with Mormons is private. It's supposed to be between you and God. It's not like you're not supposed to like go and be seen praying out in public all the time. Like it's supposed to be private. But back to the topic. tithing is what pays for the bishop's storehouse, and that's just one of the examples of like community that the church has. Like if you fall on those hard times, and they're always willing to help. If you need to move, all you have to say is, "Hey, I'm moving." And you've got 30 people showing up at your house to like pack up boxes.
Oh damn.
They've got trucks, they're loading your shit up, and you're good. Like,
Yeah.
you never have to say it more than once too. This is just always, no matter
fine,
what.
yeah.
Even if you don't even know anyone, if you're moving into a new area, you've got 30 people there like you've never even met before that are going through your boxes. Like,
I feel that more so like in the military than I did within church. But it's what's interesting about the see, from an organized religion standpoint, I like the whole like, hey, this is between me and God. Like that's the relationship I'm supposed to have, right? And that's what everybody's preaching. That's what it should be. But like we just said a second ago, they pass that basket around in front of you, right? So if you don't know the person next to you and they put a check in there for 10% of their earnings and they pass it to you and you don't do anything and you pass it to the next person, right? Everyone's looking at
judging you. Yeah.
Everyone's judging you, which you're not supposed to do in religion, but they do, right? So how does that help you? How does that help you as a person?
So that's the whole reason that like tithing in the Mormon church is super private. It's not.
Yeah.
It goes in an envelope and it gets given only to the bishop, and it's not like you don't give it to him. Like you give it to him in private. Like it's not. You don't give it to him in the front of the church, and so you'll never feel that guilt. You'll never feel that. Oh, I didn't put anything.
That's good though.
I do have to say, like there is a trend that I've noticed where and I know we spoke about this before, where I've never really met a Mormon family that didn't seem like they were at the very least close, if not well adjusted. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's like it is a community, and one of the most important things I think through getting through problems and hard times is community, feeling like you belong somewhere. So I mean, I see the appeal, and it's like, but at the same time, you know, like, do you think it's worth you personally like bringing your kids into?
I was going to ask the same question. Is this something that you would teach on?
Well, I mean,
not Mormon specifically, but I've actually, that's a deal that I've made with Paige. I'm going to go to church when we have kids, like, but her church, it's only an hour long, not 3 hours. Hell yes.
Did you ever have the pastor who would be like, all right, it's time to...
It's time, guys.
Wrap this up.
Start wrapping it up.
That is the beautiful thing about there, but I grew up in a very hellfire and brimstone.
Growing up, no, like church would be like so long, like 2 hours over. But now the church I go to is like an hour.
I found that the Sunday night masses are a lot shorter. Everyone's trying to go home.
I mean, I'm exaggerating because service started at like you'd go to Sunday school at 9:15, and then normal church started an hour later, and then you'd probably get out around 11:45, just to give you enough time to get back for the Cowboys. I mean, it's not a joke.
No, I know. We did the same. They did the same thing.
But I guess I understand why people do it, and it's not so much the dogma. It's not so much the time spent in church that turned me off. It was just what turned me off the most was seeing how certain people would go through these things that, looking back from a kid and now being an adult, they were going through these terrible things, and it was just gossip. It was gossip, and they were frowned upon, and it was like people are fallible. And I never felt like, unless it was an illness or unless it was a financial hardship, but if it was what they considered to be a personal flaw, it was almost like they were excommunicated. Like, and there was no room for thought. And then on top of that, it was very hellfire and brimstone. Like, I never felt like I was ever going to be good enough for God's love, at least in that church, with all the pastors that I had. And so, and I go to church every now and then. I don't know if we talked about this, but I go to a Methodist church, and it's like Baptist light, and it feels okay. Like they're like, God loves you. I mean, you still suck.
Yeah.
But not as hard as you would if you were in a Baptist church.
Yeah.
So I feel like I need to clarify the 3 hours of Mormon church.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's not all in one room.
Okay.
So how it starts is an hour of what's called sacrament meeting. So that's when everyone's all together, and that's when the sacrament gets passed out, like your version of communion. And
We do like we still do the bloody and but we do crackers and grape juice. Same thing.
It's just bread and water for them. So that's kind of how it starts. It's like the first 15 minutes is that they pass it around. It's a quiet, like reflective time, and then members of the congregation go up and speak. So it's not like a pastor's up there and talking by any means. It's people, your peers that are selected every week, different people every week that are given a topic and they're asked, hey, can you talk about this? Or everyone kind of has the same amount of time. Like they tend to give kids a shorter amount of time, and then the adults get like the bigger chunk of the time, right? So that's the first hour. It's called sacrament meeting. Then from there, it gets broken up by age. And so whatever your age group is, you go and you spend another hour with your age group. And then it gets broken up by sex. So then the males go into one area, and it kind of still broken up by age. So like whatever age you are, and the males, and that's, well, for males it's priesthood. And so that's when you learn how to be a man, and basically according to the Mormons. And so it's not all in one room. So it doesn't drag as much. And I mean, some of the people I grew up with, I mean, I went to church with the people you met at my party, like the two we were referring to earlier. They're great people. They're awesome. And so it wasn't so bad. It was an excuse to go hang out with them.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And I mean, so it never really felt like 3 hours. It was just kind of like, and for me.
Well, the first hour felt like 3 hours.
Yeah. Anytime, like.
Because not everyone has the same speaking skills. Not everyone can get up and.
Oh man, did you ever have somebody do like the song offering and they could not keep tune? You ever have that? Like, and now we're gonna have an offering from Mrs. Whatever.
And then they keep wanting to go on and on. It's like, okay.
It's like.
No, the worst part was the fucking announcements at the end when they come up like, we're having a youth outreach, and then someone else comes up, we're having a bank out. I'm like, bitch, I gotta go.
So we
Been on my knees for an hour.
Were you an altar boy?
Yeah, I was never touched. Fuck off.
Dude, why are me and Josh saying this? I look at you, knew exactly what
I was never touched.
Dude, you fucking walked into it, dude.
What are you talking about?
You said you were on your knees for an hour, and I asked you if you were an altar boy, and you said yes.
Okay. Well,
Sit, stand, kneel, bend over.
I was exaggerating.
No. I know. I mean, but it's murder being like a young kid in church. I mean, because I think it is.
Well,
it's like at least
for all the younger. So the wards are kind of broken up by age group as well. So there's certain wards that are like younger families, and so they always have the kids with them, and they expect the kid to sit for an hour in sacrament meeting when there's nothing. Like they're little kids, younger than Revan's age. Like
it's, and I'm sure I think all churches are like that because I remember vividly like being Revan's age, right?
Yeah,
and I'm just like sitting there. And it's like, yo, can we like leave? And it's like, shut up, this is God's house. I'm like, well, he's not here. Did he lose a bet? Like,
Sick. Yeah, no, dude. The most hardcore thing I ever saw was this was one of the first times I ever went to this. What?
It's like that's what it was.
this is God's house. Well, he's not here. Did he lose a bet?
Yeah. It's like Bill Burr. Now we're not gonna go to church on Sunday. Fuck that shit. He's everywhere, but on Sunday we got to go there to talk to him. Fuck off, and I got to give you money. Like
John Mulaney had the same joke, dude. When he was like, God can't hear you sing.
Dude, John Mulaney has the best bit about that.
Yeah, he really does.
He's like, we were drinking like they were. This is a civil war. And they were coming to take our legs.
No, dude. The most hardcore thing I ever saw was the first time I went to like there's like Christian, which is like Catholicism light. You know what I mean? Like you said it before. And then there's Catholicism. Then there's like Roman Catholicism, which is like the super hardcore, right? So the first time I went to a Roman Catholic church for mass, in the middle of like the sermon, which is like the meat of the whole thing, where the priest is talking for like 20 minutes about whatever his lesson is, right? Some lady's sitting in like the third row with her kid who's like 3 or 4, and the kid won't shut up because he doesn't know what the fuck's going on, right? And the fucking priest is like, excuse me, I'm supposed to be the only one talking right now, so can you please go on to the cry room? Thank you. and then they waited for her to walk from the front to the back of the church, and all you hear is her heels like
Yeah.
the whole dude, and it was just quiet. I was like, dude, that's
bad.
so fucking embarrassing for that
Dude,
girl, man. So rude.
We had one in the church I grew up in where it was like, well, later. I think it was in my teenagers when they put it in, but it was like a room where you could still hear the pastor, but it was like soundproof somehow.
It was like on a speaker.
Well,
yeah, it was like a small, like little glass window, and you're like, wish I could be in there.
They call that the Mother's Lounge in the Mormon Church. They've got the speakers so you can still hear,
Sexist.
but
It is.
it is what it is.
You don't
Apparently
stand for that. You don't stand for that page.
Yeah, apparently I'm racist, but
It's a family room.
can I there's something
Apparently
that I
nobody
think-
can do anything right tonight. Mike's racist and I'm just
He's
sexist.
But I did want to say I think there is something to about religion, and I don't know, I think you and I were talking the other day about even like political views, like it flips every generation, because you kind of go against what you're like. We're more liberal than our parents were, who grew up during, like, came of age during the Reagan years, and it's I feel like religion is the same way, because like with my dad, super religious, like super all about Methodist. He goes to church every Sunday. Each day he's like, he always talks about sending one up for God, like whenever like we're drinking together, and I have to like have that moment where like, yeah, Dad, I know, whatever, like, but
Please,
for real, can you pass me that beer?
Yeah, my dad does it all the time. He's like, well, just pray on it and God will answer it. I'm like, all right,
Yeah,
Dad,
yeah,
whatever you
yeah,
say. Like,
yeah.
all right.
I mean, I talked to my imaginary friend.
So I think I figured it out. Oh, go ahead.
But I guess what I'm saying is
Hold the phone. You're allowed to drink? That's not against your religion? Like the religion you guys grew up in?
You're not allowed to dance in the Baptist church. So I just don't believe in the rules.
Mike took the rule book and took a shit on it, dude.
Well, obviously,
No, he
but
doesn't.
like, if you're saying your dad's religious but he still drinks,
Yeah.
to me that's like
He's-
such a foreign concept. Because like in the Mormon Church,
Really?
like they don't drink at all. Like there's no vices.
Oh yeah, no, you
like,
can totally drink.
No smoking, no
Catholicism.
drinking. Like that's a huge deal to them.
They always say like, oh, this is saying like that. I always heard like you can drink but don't waddle it, like don't overindulge.
Don't overindulge. Yeah.
So the Mormons believe it's not don't overindulge, it's don't touch it, because you can get addicted and that takes away your free will.
Damn.
Well, I mean, I do have to point out, like, he does Lent every year, and he gives up something I know means a lot to him. Like he'll be a vegan for like the period of Lent, or he'll give up booze. He's quit smoking so many damn times. But I guess
Haven't we all?
not me, homie.
Hey,
Never,
me.
not once. Except for the time that I was in the hospital for 2 weeks in basic training.
Yeah, exactly right.
Yeah, like whenever the doctor or like the MTI who was my god was like, "You're not smoking." And I was
Yeah.
like, but I guess what I'm saying is that what struck, I really think that if your kid, if you don't raise them in it, because my dad wasn't, and it's, if you want those answers, you'll seek them, and sometimes you find your way to it, and if you don't, you don't. But then at the same time, is it worth giving the moral backbone for a lifetime of guilt over things that aren't really great sins in the mind of most
Right.
humanity? Like you said, like, is having a drink right now a great sin? In some people's eyes, maybe. But was it worth all the years in the church and the guilt and what I feel now?
Right.
But it did give me a strong moral foundation. I have to give it that.
So that's what I was gonna say. Was a moment ago you guys asked me like, well, okay, you're not teaching your kids the religion, but you're still indoctrinating them to be that type of person. Well, our parents indoctrinated us into the religion that they best knew, because that's what told them to be the type of person they are. And so they only thought to set us up with. I never once said that our parents indoctrinated us because they wanted us to be that religion. That's just what they knew, and that was their best way to communicate how to be a good person to us. They didn't do anything wrong, but to your point exactly, Mike, that's exactly how I feel. Is now, growing up, I felt guilt for doing the wrong thing, but now I'm like, dude, it's so trivial, it's so meaningless. These things aren't bad, but I still feel guilty for them.
Well, that's exactly why I'm 100% on board with going to church when we have kids, with Paige and I have kids, because it builds that moral backbone. it's also kind of a general church. It's not like, I don't know what you call it. It's like,
non-denominational.
yeah, it's a non-denominational. It gives the morals, but at the same time, it also kind of, if they want more, if they want to look into something else,
Right.
more power to you. Go for it.
Yeah.
I'm not against it at all. If they don't want anything to do with it, no
Cool.
problem either. Like,
Yeah.
but they're still going to learn those morals, and it's the easiest, most efficient way to do it.
I think the middle ground that we're looking for is that we want to give you this moral base. We want you, but at the same time, there's certain things that you can kind of take or leave, because at least the way I grew up, it was very much, if you don't buy into this, and more than likely how you were, it's like, if you do not buy in to this 100%,
Yeah.
with everything, this word is law, this book is law, and for me, that's a mistake. It's like, because there's so many ways to interpret this book full of thousands of pages and hundreds of concepts, and at the end of the day, it's like, do I think that God really took one of his strongest believers and punished him to where he had nothing, and then said, look, Satan, because they made a wager?
Right.
He still believes. It's like, no, what loving God does that?
Yeah.
So I guess what I'm saying is that makes a lot of sense. It makes a
Yeah.
lot of sense to put him in it for the moral foundation, but as long as you say, don't worry, man. you
Yeah.
know?
And that's I agree with that. I agree with that point, because like, for example, I grew up hardcore in Catholicism, and I was guilted into following these morals that I believe now, right? Caitlin was raised without any sort of like religious upbringing at all, and she made all her own choices on her own, but yet she's still a good person because she was taught the right way, right? So using religion as a way to teach your children morals, I agree with. I want to be clear. I'm not knocking the idea of religion. If you're religious, that's good. I believe it's a personal thing. I believe everybody can believe what they want, and what I believe is what I believe, and I'm not by any means trying to force that on anybody. But I want to say that I feel if you use religion as a way to teach your children good morals and to be a good person, then great. But if you use religion more so in like an organized religion sense, where they use it as like a control means to guilt you into being a good person, that I'm not okay with. Because then once you are on your own, you move away from your parents, you start learning the real world and the way things are, and you start learning things outside of that dome you were raised in, dude, you have fucking constant turmoil in what you feel is right and wrong, and feeling guilty and believing something different than what you were raised to believe. And that is not, I'm not okay with my children feeling like that.
It also turns you away from it more.
Yeah, absolutely it does.
So I feel bad. I mentioned earlier, I'm the youngest of 7. My poor parents. There's only one of my siblings that's still Mormon. That's it.
See, and I think that says something, because
It's because like they were so adamant about it. Whereas my uncle, he went kid for kid with my dad. I don't know how they did it. Straight up, kid for kid with my dad. He's got seven kids, just the same. But he was always more
liberal.
He was always more
yeah.
chill. I mean, he's still Mormon, but don't get me wrong. But he was always more lenient. Like he never. If you didn't want to wake up and read the scriptures in the morning at 5 o'clock in the morning, he wouldn't throw water on your face and force you to come downstairs if you wanted to sleep in. Like opposite end of the spectrum, right?
Yeah.
And so I think because of that, he's got 6 out of the 7 kids that are still in the church.
Right. Yeah. See, me and my dad, he almost kicked me out of the house because I wasn't going to church, because I was working so much to pay for college that I was like, dude, I need this like 1 hour of sleep. He was like, if you don't get up and go to church right now, you're done in this house. I'm kicking you out. And so I was guilted into going by my own household, and then the Lord himself, you know what I mean?
Dude.
And now they're divorced, so.
Dude, to me, and dude, they had to pay money for the church to recognize that divorce. You know that, right?
Yeah. Oh, I know. I
It's
understand it.
it's a racket, dude. That's why Martin Luther broke off. But anyway, I guess just like looking back on it, it was so much of the reason that I went to church as much as I did was it was like my mother being like, just shut the fuck up, just tell your grandmother that you believe. So
Because she didn't want the guilt from her people or
Yeah,
her
yeah.
parents indoctrinating her.
Yeah, well, no, I mean, it's not even so much
Can
that.
trace it back, man.
To be honest, do you want to know the reason that I actually still believe the bit that I do is because of my aunt.
Mhm.
And we were in the car, and I was like, I don't know, like 12, and I was like, what do you think about all this God, heaven stuff? And she's like, yo, you know what I really think? I think if you just believe in something, if you just put your faith in something, if you put your faith in humanity,
Yeah.
I can't imagine that like any loving entity would be like, yeah, I'm gonna make sure you burn.
Yeah.
So
No, I agree with that,
I guess
and that's my thing. Like I don't know. That's my constant struggle now. I don't know what religion is the one true religion, if there is one or not, right? And I personally don't think I'm gonna be resolved on a particular religion. Do I still believe in something? Sometimes, and other times I don't, and that's my own turmoil to struggle with, right? But it's not for me to walk around and push that on everybody else. That's for me to deal with, and for me to cope with, and figure out what I want to do. And so, you know, if that's and my thing is, again, I'm gonna walk around. I'm gonna be a good person to other people because I feel that's what other people deserve. They've done nothing wrong to me. I'll probably never see this person again. Why do I need to be rude to them? I don't.
Don't be an asshole.
Golden rule.
Don't be an asshole.
So it's funny backtrack just a tiny bit. You mentioned how there's so many different ways you can interpret the Bible.
Yeah.
So the Mormons believe that the Mormons have even more. So
More Bibles, or more
Sort of.
interpretations.
So the Bible is broken down into two books, the Old Testament and the New Testament, right?
Yeah.
So the Mormons have two more books. They've got the Book of Mormon, and they've got the Doctrine and Covenants. So the Book of Mormon is basically the Bible, but in the Americas, right? So
Joseph Smith's adventures.
no, it's actually nothing to do with Joseph Smith. He found them, but they're from Bible times in the Americas, right?
Oh,
So
they were Native Americans doing all this then.
yes, so
Interesting.
basically this guy Nephi with his son Nephi and Laman and Lemuel, which they're the Mormon examples of the bad kids, Laman and Lemuel, and then Nephi is like the good kid. They get on a boat and they come to the Americas, and then they like start this religion. I mean, there's obviously already people here, but
Right.
there's this whole ordeal, and it's like all the adventures of the people here in Americas, but back in Bible times. And so that's the Book of Mormon, and then the Doctrine and Covenants that's Joseph Smith adventures. That's all of the like the revelations that he's gotten while he was alive in his life, and then towards the tail end it like kind of picks up with Brigham Young, the second prophet, after Joseph Smith passes away, but it's just like the very, very tail end of it, and that's it. But there's 4 books for them to interpret, and I mean the way that they look at it is they kind of use it as the Book of Mormon as a way to interpret the Bible, as a way to like
Right.
to look at it.
It's like a guidance.
So you have with the Book of Mormon and the New and Old Testament, you basically have 2 major events concurrently happening with each other.
Yes.
Dude,
Interesting.
bro.
All that stuff is really,
like I said, so I mentioned how the Mormons have different members of the congregation, not a pastor, not like one person every Sunday talking. They have different members of the congregation every week talking. And so there's always a different interpretation of this verse here or this bit here. There's every single Sunday there's a different interpretation some way, somehow, no matter what. I mean, it's never like this. I read this part here, and so that means go drink. No, it's never like it's always along the same line of thinking.
right.
But it's always
Somebody else's personal
spin on
thoughts.
it.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
no matter what. It's always gonna be something like that
Right.
But it's not gonna break the dogma, right?
for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Man.
Interesting. It's hard for me to after I know I'm all over Graham Hancock. I know I keep talking about him, but after learning about all the ancient civilization stuff, dude, I still think it's hard for me to look at the Bible stories now and think that they're not just like fables that are just passed down over generations.
I've said it before. Basic instructions before leaving Earth.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's just, again, it's probably a prehistoric version of religion to again teach us morals and how to be a good person.
I mean, it makes sense. Like most of
It's like a time capsule.
well, I mean, all right. So like, look at
Morals.
you look at Daniel's and Lion's Den, perseverance, faith, belief. You know, so a lot of them have to do with just basic.
Yeah.
But man, Jerry, I think we gotta take us home, man.
Yeah, let's wrap it up, man.
Can you
Definitely.
please come back. I have so many more
Yeah,
questions about.
absolutely need to do a second parter on this, man. But
Absolutely.
do you have any last final words of wisdom for anybody that may be struggling with anything, or maybe you know, just anything you want to close out with, Josh?
Just be happy with yourself. Don't let someone ever make you feel like less of a person. Especially not a religion. I hate the way that most organized religions will, like you said, the hellfire and brimstone is awful. I hate the guilt trips. I hate all of that.
Yeah.
Just be happy with how you live your life. I mean, if you're obviously making bad decisions, then don't be happy with those and improve.
Right.
But generally, just find peace with your life.
Boom. Dude, Paige, I can see why you married him.
Just real
Beautiful.
Quick, I did want to ask Paige a question on air. Have you ever been to a funeral at one of the Baptist church where they have the open mic?
Oh yeah.
Oh, it's bad.
And you're like some people. You're like.
Wait, what do they do? Like a roast me for your
Well,
funeral?
it's just what will happen is you're getting towards the end of like a 2-hour service for somebody's funeral, and then you got that one guy or like those 7 people who just keep coming up last minute.
Coming up. And it's like, you barely knew them. Why are you up here? Like, and sometimes we get that sometimes.
Yeah.
Jesus.
This is one thing I just had a memory, but I did want to say that first off, thank you as a friend of the show for coming on.
Yeah, absolutely. One
been
of our biggest
awesome.
fans.
It's an honor. I've been arguing with you guys in my head every time I listen. So
Yeah, so
it's finally nice to be able to argue with you on air.
Yeah, dude, absolutely. Anytime.
Yeah, for real. It's been a lot of fun. That was like it was one of those ones I was like, dude, we gotta bring Josh on this.
I think Josh may be tied for first in biggest fan with Zach, who was recently on the show as well.
I mean, whatever, man. I'm just glad you're here. Fuck.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Have you back on for sure. Maybe we get some more heated shit, because I know me and Josh can get heated with some topics.
Dude,
Oh,
you know,
God.
I want to moderate between you two, because like, I'll sit back, man. I want to hear that. So that'll be our
What
next
are we gonna-
arrangement. I'll
I
sit-
mean, that's us back since high school.
That's
We used
true.
to just argue with. That's why we became friends, is because we would argue with each other and insult each other,
no, here's what you know. What
and
I'll-
we loved it.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
moderate, but here's the twist: is I'm gonna throw each of you softballs, like alternately, like because I know one of you is like smarter than the other in different ways.
Yeah.
I'll just let you wreck each other. It'd be great.
Dude, it got
man.
to the point where Josh and I were, I think senior year, we had like 3 classes together, and we sat alone on our own away from everybody else for all 3 periods, because people were like, you guys are just fucking mean, man. Like, why you guys talk like that? So we just sit by ourselves.
It's like, see, like I knew Josh was an asshole, but it's like I remember like you talking about you being an asshole, and I'm like, dude, Jerry, you were so nice.
Dude, I was an asshole to like people I didn't know.
Yeah, but at the same time, in calculus, everyone would always come sit with us because they would ask for help. They
That's true.
always wanted help.
That's true.
You know what I did? The
Yeah, 'cause
smartest
this
move.
fucking guy.
The smartest move that I ever made was not taking calculus.
I was gonna say, dude.
I've been drinking all night, dude. I gotta go smoke. It's gonna be a bad shit show.
All right, everybody.
Thanks for listening.
Thank you so much for all the listens that we get. We really appreciate it. Everybody, whether you listen on the podcast app or you watch it on YouTube, even if you're one of those 6 views, we're looking at you.
All 3 of you.
All 3 of you, all 2 of you.
For me.
All 4 of them are just Mike watching himself on his lunch break.
Watching myself on YouTube.
Fuck.
That joke was brought to you by marijuana.
All right, everybody, take it easy. Thank you so much. More to come soon. Bye.